Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Krueger. This is a special edition. I don't typically do weekends, but when we got weather like we've got going on here, I felt it was kind of important to maybe just kind of get on here and address some of the questions that I think a lot of you may have as you go through your day Sunday and as we go into next week, because there's, it's been raining. In fact, it's been raining pretty steady and fairly heavy for especially the north end of the valley here through a good portion of the night. It's just now that we're beginning to show signs that it's beginning to kind of break up a little bit here, or at least die down. But you head off to the north and west out along the coast, not much rain there. You know, we're talking about this atmospheric river where it's aimed at. The difference between where it's raining and where it's not, I mean, it's a very sharp line sometimes, and that's essentially what we've been dealing with this storm system. The winds have picked up in many areas and seeing some very gusty winds, and as a result, there are power outages going on out there as well. So I'm going to address a lot of these questions some of you may have. If you have any questions during this broadcast, feel free to post them in the comments below, especially if you're on YouTube or if you're on Facebook. I can see them right here very easily, so I can address any questions you may have. Or if you just want to say good morning or hello, you can do that as well. So let's get you right to it. Take a look at the radar right now. So you can clearly see again that sharp line of where the rain and of course snow in some cases, but where the rain and dry conditions stop. So we're looking over at the last 12 hours or so. And you can see 12 hours ago, sure, there's a little bit of rain along the coast, but that's been pushing slowly to the east. So then places like Crescent City, Eureka, Hoopa have dried out, right? But then you head to the south and east of that, you're looking pretty wet. But look to the south and east as you start heading into Portola, southeastern portions of Plumas County, and of course Reno, it's dry. But as this all shifts to the south and east, I think some of that rain will kind of kick in some of those areas. All right, so again, there's the latest look at the radar here. There's some snow out there too, but snow levels are actually fairly high. So for example, I'm taking my son to alpine practice out at Mount Shasta Ski Park. The only thing I'm concerned about is the snow that's going to be on the road between Highway 89 and the ski park itself, because it's snowing at the ski park, right? So there's going to be snow on the road there. But on Highway 89, I think it's going to be okay. And same as I-5, it's just going to be wet and windy. So you just need to be aware of that. All right, let's take a look at the big picture here. You can clearly see, again, Pineapple Express, whatever you want to call it, coming in from Hawaii. That's the tropical moisture aimed right at Northern California. In fact, to please some of the people that are really tired of the term atmospheric river and don't like it, let's go old school, shall we? We'll call it the Pineapple Express. Same thing as an atmospheric river, just a different name. But there you have it. Pineapple Express. That's what we've got going on right now. It's basically, and you've heard this before, it's like taking a fire hose and aiming it right at Northern California. And that's essentially what's going on. And it's just dumping the rain and, of course, the high elevation snow. So as you're heading out the door this morning, say about 8 o'clock, wet weather for pretty much everyone. Of course, the North Coast, you're looking at those dry conditions now and most likely will even at 8 o'clock this morning. But I think that could change later this afternoon. But we'll take a look at Futurecast here in just a little bit. Let's go and take a look now at the winds. And, I've got my jacket on. Let's go up to the weather wall and kind of get you situated here and take a look at things. It's easier sometimes for me to explain what's going on. So, yeah, the winds. These are the winds right now. And you can see out in Red Bluff, really, you'll notice here northeast, down to the south, some pretty strong. Look at Willows, 39, Chico, 20 miles per hour. But the winds to the north and west, not nearly as bad. Again, that main boundary is pushing to the south and east, so the winds are fairly strong. Now, as a result, there have been some power outages, as you can see right here. 100 people without power there, and about 800 people in Tehama County. In fact, there is another map that I can look at here behind the scenes that I'm going to take a look at. This is from PG&E. And there actually is, let's see how many people are out here. Basically, none of what's coming out of PG&E is saying that it's weather related. But based on the fact that we've got those gusty winds out there, I can only imagine that the majority of what we're seeing here with these power outages is, of course, related to the fact that we've got those gusty winds out there. So again, when you see 800 in Tehama County, that's approximately 800 people that are without power. And of course, up in Siskiyou County, approximately 100. Now, at one point, I think I saw we saw some outages in Butte County, but it looks like PG&E has gotten the power up since then, so that's good. Now, as a result, the National Weather Service early this morning issued a wind advisory for the Sacramento Valley and the surrounding foothills until 4 o'clock today. But as we look at the forecast winds through the day, we're going to see the winds dying down through the afternoon. So here we are at midday. Look where the strongest winds are. And this is something I was even talking about on Friday. You've got very gusty winds to the east in Lassen County, Plumas County, but even parts of the valley still pretty gusty even at noon today, and even to the west in some of the foothills there. Take you to this afternoon, still a little bit breezy down to the south out towards Chico, Willows, but not as bad as you head to the north end of the valley. And of course, everywhere else, it's looking pretty good too. Still those very gusty winds, especially out towards, say, Plumas County, and it's just surrounding that. But going into tomorrow morning, Monday morning, look at this. The winds may pick up again coming in from the south. 30, 40 miles per hour again. So we may be looking at another wind advisory for the valley, very gusty winds off to the east as well, but notice it's not as bad off to the west. So that's what it's looking like as we take you through the day on Monday. Still pretty gusty winds for parts of the valley eastward, but not as bad to the north and west. Let's take you into your Tuesday. Looks like Tuesday morning, still some gusty winds, especially off to the east. Tuesday afternoon, the wind should start to subside, I think, pretty much across the board. So again, in fact, by the time we get into Tuesday, we're going to start to see the atmospheric river, or Pineapple Express, shift a little bit more down to the south-southeast. But it's still going to be aimed at us today and tomorrow in particular, and really through a good portion of the day on Tuesday as well. So there again, you can clearly see that flow of moisture heading right into Northern California. And you can also see overnight that kind of that steady, moderate to heavy rainfall that we've seen around the Redding area and surrounding, but not as bad. Now, we're noticing some snow up to the north. There's actually some colder air that's trying to come down here, and it will eventually make its way for most of us with cooler temperatures. But you'll notice that we do have some snow in some of these higher elevations. But then you head to the south of that, the snow levels begin to drop a little bit here. So on I-5 Mount Shasta, it's rain. On Highway 89 at Snowman Summit, kind of a bit of a mix, but mainly just wet. But then you start getting up about 4,500, 5,000 feet. That's when we start transitioning over to snow. So it looks like you're going to be okay on Highway 299, just in the form of rain. But keep in mind, the rain has been rather heavy and steady this weekend at times. So that could lead to the potential for some mudslides and debris flows. I just want you to be aware of that. That could be a problem. And of course, we're going to talk about that potential for flooding as well. In fact, here it is, the flood advisory. Now, here's a look at the flood advisory until 10 p.m. Sunday, till 10 o'clock tonight. For the east, out towards Plumas and Lassen County, looks like we are seeing until 4 p.m. Tuesday. Now, the rain is going to continue into Monday and even Tuesday, and there's also going to be a bit of a delayed response to all the rain that we've seen. And we're going to look at some of those river levels. In fact, let's do that right now. What you'll notice, all the green dots are saying right now, none of them are within the flood stage. However, look at here, just to the south and east of Redding. I'm going to click on that and you'll see. Now don't pay attention to the colors. For some reason, this gauge on my weather computer is having a problem with this one. But basically, the current level of Cow Creek is at 19.04 inches. Now, minor flood stage is 17 feet. So we are within that minor flood stage at this point, and it's expect to crest on Monday. So that's kind of an idea what's going on there. Let's take you to the south, out towards Red Bluff. It's expected to crest on Tuesday, but not quite make it to the minor flood stage. But we head to the south, yeah, now you're getting into that minor flood stage. It's expected to crest, that's the Sacramento River at Tehama Bridge, Tuesday morning. And that's going to be about 4 feet below moderate, but it is expected to get to the minor flood stage. We take you out to Vina Woodson Bridge, same story. It's expected to get into the minor flood stage. Let's take you south of that, and Hamilton City, Sacramento River, should stay below the minor flood stage. We take you out to Ord Ferry, Sacramento River. Yeah, I mean, you're getting up to 115.5. That's expected to crest it Wednesday, this upcoming Wednesday at 5 a.m. And to the south of that looks like Molten Weir. It looks like it's going to stay below that flood stage. Meanwhile, I want to take you out to Eel River at Fernbridge. It's expected on Tuesday at 8 a.m. to reach that minor flood stage. Let's take you out to Susanville, where you can see here, yeah, that's expected to get to the forecast crest at 12.5 feet, so just slightly above the minor flood stage. And the one up in Alturas, look at this. This is actually expected to crest Wednesday at 4 a.m. and will quite possibly reach the moderate flood stage. So once again, these are all things that we're going to be monitoring here. If you watched on Friday, none of them were even getting into the minor flood stage. So these always are changing. The forecasts are changing rapidly because it all depends on what's going on with the rain that we're seeing now and how much the forecast is changing with the amount of rainfall that we are expecting to see in many of these areas. So just wanted to kind of show you what it looks like right now with some of those flood stages, what they're forecast to reach. But Cow Creek right now is at the minor flood stage at this point, so just be aware if you live in that area. Now, I was on social media this morning. There was someone local in the Redding area that was posting that there is a flood warning in the area. Not true. There is not a flood warning as of I'm even recording this, or even this morning, or as I'm live right now, okay? There is not a flood warning at 6:12 this morning. There has not been a flood warning at all at this point for the area. There's a flood watch, but not a warning. See, this is where people who are doing what I'm doing, and you know, in fact, I'm part of the National Weather Network. There are 6 of us right now. It's growing. We have a set of criteria, and you've got to have that criteria. Otherwise, there are so many what we call social meteorologists, sociologists, or whatever you want to call it, that don't know what they're talking about. And they post all this information to get clicks so they can, you know, generate and make money. But the problem is you're getting false information. You're not getting the correct information. And that's not good when you're talking about weather. So let's talk about what the difference is between a watch and a warning when we're talking flooding. A flash flood or even a flood watch is saying, hey, listen, conditions are favorable for flooding. You need to be prepared, but it's not happening just yet. When we go into a warning, it's about to happen or it's already happening. So when there's a warning that's saying, hey, it's happening, folks, take action, get out, do what you got to do to protect yourself. Or if you're going to that area, don't go. So that's the difference between a flood warning and a watch. That's why it's important. So I'm reading that caption, it says flash flood, it says flood warning. I'm like, what? And I'm looking around for a warning and I couldn't find it. And then it said flash, and then it said flood watch underneath the post. It was frustrating to see. You've got to be careful with the information you're getting from social media. You can rest assured that the information is going to be accurate, reliable, not clickbait when it comes to weather information with Weather NorCal. Heavy rainfall can lead to rapid water rises in low-lying areas and rivers. So, just going to give you some ideas in flood safety. 6 inches of water could mean a person can get swept away. Just 6 inches of water, folks. If the water is rushing, that can sweep you away as an individual. 12 inches of water can wash a car or an SUV away. And 18 inches of water, a large vehicle, can be swept away. So bottom line, if you can't see the road through the water, turn around, don't drown. That's just the bottom line. Not a good idea to try to test the waters, if you will. All right, let's get you to Futurecast. And I've included the winds because the winds, as you know, are pretty gusty and will be through a good portion of the day. But they're also going to have an impact in the form of these convergence zones that we talk about, training effect, whatever you want to call it. You see that right there? So the winds are very strong out of the south. So sometimes when the winds are actually weak, it creates a convergence zone, but then also it kind of rides up the mountains. So what happens is you got that constant flow of south winds. the upper level winds are flowing and the rain is moving from southwest to northeast, and you basically see just a constant area of rain, and it can kind of shift from south to north, and that's where you can start to see a potential for some flooding. But in the meantime, a couple other things I want to point out. Look at the heavy rainfall that we're seeing off to the east. And I point out the word rainfall too because look to the north. It's snow. Okay, so snow levels I think at this point are going to be, 3,500, 4,000 feet at the lowest, but now we're talking 5,000, 6,000 feet here. So colder air is starting to migrate southward in some areas of Northern California, but not everyone. You can see that boundary, right? Right here. Cold air here, warmer air here. As a result, snow levels there's going to be a drastic difference in those snow levels. So that's what I was talking about when we're looking at some of those road conditions. All right, so we're going to take a look at those here in just a little bit, those road conditions. All right, that's this morning. Okay, now we go into noon today. You see how that boundary shifts southward, but look at the winds, right? And then they kind of stop right about here. And then that southwesterly flow of winds will kind of help push that and maybe produce a little bit of flooding in some areas here. This is where we can see the potential for flash flooding. All right, because again, when you see that steady rainfall, heavy rainfall, that can create some of the localized flooding. So that's something we're gonna have to watch here closely. But again, look, colder air, much warmer, higher snow levels as a result in many areas. Starts to fill in again here this afternoon. Snow levels, once again, you can see how they're beginning to, that colder air is beginning to kind of shift a little bit more to the south by 5 o'clock on Sunday. There's that rain coming on in, and then drier down to the south. And of course, there you can see some of those winds too. All right, let's take you into Sunday. Look what's happening. You see how this is kind of doing this? Now, there's a reason for that. So you saw how the rain today is going to be kind of moving from basically west to east. But by tomorrow, it's going to be doing this, right? It's tilting. It's going from southwest to northeast. Why is that? Because we got an area of low pressure, a cold area of low pressure, that's diving down to the south, and that's causing this. So as this goes like this, and this is going like this, watch what happens. We shift, we take the area of low pressure, and that's when this shifts, and we see more flow from southwest to northeast. See how we're seeing some of the colder air? There's that sharp edge between the cold and warmer air. So I've got snow levels between 2,000 and 4,000 feet. It just depends on where you are. So Hoopa may be getting a little bit of snow, but looks like Hayfork, Weaverville, you're still within that warmer air, so that's going to keep those snow levels higher. But Wairika, I think you could see snow, but at a higher elevation in Mount Shasta City, it might be just in that borderline of where that colder and warmer air is. So it just depends on where you are and how far south this colder air. I mean, we just have to shift this a little bit more to the south, maybe 50 miles or 25, 50 miles. Suddenly you've got snow in Mount Shasta. Suddenly you've got snow on I-5 and you've got problems on travel. But travel could be a concern here, especially as you head around Mount Shasta northward on I-5. I think so. I think you'll see some train requirements there. You can still see that steady stream of moisture. That's going to mean heavy snow, folks. Heavy snow. And it's going to create some problems Monday morning on I-5. Here's noon. You see how, again, we're seeing that boundary of that colder air and then, of course, warmer to the south. We're starting to see some of the colder air, but this is mainly above 4,000 or 5,000 feet where you're seeing here. But still, the rain looks like, again, Mount Shasta City having a hard time getting in on some of that snow. Let's take you to 5 o'clock here on Monday, 6 o'clock. We're beginning to see this begin to dry out. We're seeing some breaks here, some heavy snow off to the east. Once again, we're seeing that boundary, but look at this. See, the winds are picking back up again. We could be looking at another area of heavy rainfall for a long period of time that could lead to some more localized flooding. I mean, so there's a lot to unpack with the forecast here over the next couple of days. Winds, possible flooding, snow. It's just a whole lot going on out there, right? So it's going to take some time to talk about it. All right, so we go into 8 a.m. on Tuesday. Now we're still seeing some of the rain. We're seeing the snow. Now I think at this point, the colder air is pretty much going to start to kind of move on in. Now I don't think it's going to be in the valley, but places like Hayfork, Weaverville, Mount Shasta, 2,000 feet or so, right? 2,000, 2,500 feet. I think you're seeing snow Tuesday morning. Tuesday at noon, this is kind of moving a little bit more to the north and west, kind of a nice little sharp line between the drier and wetter air. Still snow levels 2,000, 2,500 feet. And then you see how it starts to shift to the south and east by Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night. This is when we expect the atmospheric river, Pineapple Express, to no longer be a part of our weather forecast. And it's just going to be cold and unstable air moving in behind that. And even though it won't have the Pineapple Express to tap into, I still think there's going to be some available moisture, and that's when we see those lower snow levels. Now, one of the things about winter weather alerts is they are rapidly changing. I'll show you this map. Sometimes a half hour to an hour later, it changes completely. But what this is basically showing is that we've got winter weather advisories, we've got winter storm warnings, we've got winter storm watches coming in from all of the different National Weather Service offices, and there is a lookout for the snow that we're seeing out there. So what do the chain requirements look out there right now? Well, you can see again where we're seeing the colder air moving in. That's what we're showing you, right? That's where the snow is. Cedar Pass on Highway 139, Highway 97, but all south of that, no chain requirements. That's because it's mainly in the form of rain, mainly above 4,000 or 5,000 feet. So what do the road conditions look like based on the forecast? Well, let's take you through time here. We're going to take you about the noon hour. There's I-5. Looks okay, right? Looks like it's just going to be wet, but no snow. Highway 89, you should be okay. But then you start getting out to the ski park. Yeah, I think there'll be some snow on the what they call the ski park highway. So if you're heading out to the ski park, you want to bring your chains. That's the bottom line. I'm going to bring mine when I bring my son up this morning. But there you can see also off to the east. Let's take you to Sunday, today at 5 p.m. Again, I-5 looks okay. Highway 89 looks okay. Now this may start to change as we go into tonight and into tomorrow. You see that? We're starting to see some winter precipitation on I-5, Highway 89, and especially off to the east. Snow levels are dropping as we go into Monday, especially still to the north. Take a quick look at that ski report, right? These numbers, everything that you see here is only as good as what these different ski parks and resorts are reporting, including Mount Shasta. I would love to be able to get in contact, and I've been trying to, but there just doesn't seem to be any interest apparently. But I've been trying to get in contact with the folks out there at the ski park to maybe get me an inside source on how much snow we've got there, what it's looking like, because I want to be able to report this information to you so you know what to expect. But of course, there's some of the others out at Tahoe. Looks pretty good there as well. All right, let's take a look at how much snow we can expect, and it's looking good, my friends. Taking you all the way through Tuesday. On top of what we've already seen, we can see another over 2 feet of snow out at the base of the ski park. Look at the summit of the ski park. 55 inches of snow through Tuesday. Boy, oh boy, we'll take it. All right, let's take a look at those road conditions. All right, so here's a look at Dunsmuir, wet. I-5 at Highway 89, this is around Mount Shasta City. Wet, but not snowing. Snowman Summit, looks like it's a bit of a mix, but it's not sticking to the road. All right, so a bit slushy. Looks like it at Snowman Summit, that's at 4,500 feet, right? So still looks okay there. And I think as we go through the morning hours, that's not going to get any worse. Snow levels are not expected to drop in those areas here, especially through this morning. Here's a look at Highway 299 West, Buckhorn Summit. This is, of course, below the summit, but I don't anticipate to see any snow on Highway 299 West. 299 East, Hatchet Mountain looks okay. Again, you're actually below those snow levels, so you'll be looking at mainly wet conditions there. 299 at 89, known as the Four Corners, looks wet, but Cedar Pass, 6,000 feet, no big surprises there, right? You've got the snow up there. All right, let's take a look at Highway 44. Shingletown, just a little misty. Laston Park, looks pretty wet there too. Not much in the way of snow on the road there. And there's Bogard Ranger Station, just looks fairly wet, but not much in the way of snow either. Take a look at Highway 36. This is Highway 36 East. Unfortunately, there are no cameras on Highway 36 West. Chester, again, fairly wet. So really, the roads are not all that bad. But here's what I want you to do. And in fact, what I'm going to do, since I can very easily just go to my computer here, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to take you to weathernorcal.com. We'll just take a look at that. Let's see here, let's load that up. There we go. So there's weathernorcal.com. I'm going to scroll down here. You see this right here? Road conditions. Click on that. So when you click on it, number one, you'll see right here, click on this for the latest road conditions. This will give you the chain requirements, the works, okay? So just click on that area. But what I've done is I've taken the more popular cameras and I've put them at the images right there. They're the latest images. So you can say, here's I-5. You can look at up and down I-5 from Fondale all the way up to Hilt Sandhouse as you start getting closer to the Oregon state line. And you can see if there's any snow on the highway. And as of right now, it doesn't look like it. Of course, it's dark. It's kind of hard to see. There's Highway 89, Highway 97. Yeah, there's Highway 97, Mount Hebron. Looks like there are, of course, chain requirements there. You can see on Highway 97, northeast of Weed, there are chain requirements, and you can see the snow clearly on the road. But Grass Lake looks wet. Snowman Summit, we saw that a little bit earlier. Buckhorn Summit, look at this. What's this I see? Interesting. Let me take a look at something. That looks like Berry Summit. Is that snowy on Berry Summit? We'll have to take a closer look at that. That's at 6:20 this morning, yeah. Looks like that just kind of came down. There's Cedar Pass. There's look at Highway 44 and Highway 36. I am going to, and again, you can see all of them. So I want you to check that out. But again, before we get to all that, where's Highway 299 West? Let's see if we can show that. Well, interesting. That's a different camera. It's not showing it, but it looks like we are seeing some. Let me confirm that. Tell you what we're going to do. Here's the best way to confirm it. We are going to go to Quick Map, reload, and there it is. And there are the cameras. Let's take you to the cameras. Here's a look at Berry Summit. No, not there. Not there. Let's see if this one is. Nope, that's the one I have set in my weather computer. And we've got a couple cameras here. It looks like it's snowing up there. So if you're heading between Highway 299, between Redding and the coast, do take note. Now, there are no chain requirements as of right now. Let's double check that to make sure there aren't any. Road conditions, chain controls are on. So you can see where the chain requirements are, but none on Berry Summit. But that may be a different story based on the cameras that we're seeing here. All right, interesting. So let's get back to the forecast, shall we? And one of the things, of course, we want to remind ourselves is that, hold on one second. Hold on one second. Let me get this loaded up. Forgive me here. I'm one-man banding it here, so I got to make sure everything's all loaded up, ready to go. All right, so let's take a look. Of course, as you know, there is a sponsor for Coffee with Krueger. Sponsors make this possible for you to watch this all for free and be a part of this for free, right? By the way, let me check to see if there's any comments coming in from any of you this morning. And we'll maybe address some of those questions here. But as you know, Coffee with Krueger is made possible by Wind River Resort and Casino. At Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. All right, so let's kind of address some of the things that maybe some of you are saying out there this morning and see what's going on here. We got Ruth saying good morning. It looks like I got a pond in front of my house. Oh, a pond maybe. Let's see here. We've got, check that in here. We got Rob saying Old Shasta, Lower Springs area, 1.72 inches so far. Woo, that's a lot of rain. Good for you. That's good. So much rain in Hayfork, I bet. We've got some flooding in Ingot. Ugh, see, this is what it's beginning to happen, folks. We've been looking at the steady rainfall. The ground is getting saturated. And now, especially with this recent, really heavy, steady rainfall that some of us have seen, there's probably looking at some localized flooding, especially in a lot of those low-lying areas. All night heavy rain. Yes, absolutely. So much wind last night kept waking me in Red Bluff. Yeah, I hope it calms down for you. We've got Tim Moore saying, send a picture on Weather NorCal of the flooded roads. I'll have to take a look at that. You know, I'll be honest, I haven't been checking that as much as I should. We have got Deborah saying 2.3 inches in Etna. All right, so looks like we're pretty good. You know, hopefully it's not flooding. Deborah, let me know, or maybe comment, while I'm back up at the screen here, but that's a lot of rain. So I'll be curious. Oh, in 3 days. So in 3 days, that's not too bad. But with the heavy rainfall, looks like, based on the radar, it doesn't look like we're seeing a ton of rain there right now. In fact, let's take you to the weather maps. We'll get back into the forecast here. We've got more to talk about, folks. We've been talking about the road conditions, the flooding. Let's take a look at what's going on here. All right, so there you can see the rain. You see, again, that drastic line between the drier and the wetter conditions. And, of course, those snow levels fairly high, between 4,500, 5,000 feet or so. So let's take a look at the big picture again. So you've got an area of low pressure here, you've got the atmospheric river or Pineapple Express, whatever you want to call it, tropical moisture aimed right at Northern California. A couple of things to point out. This is going to get caught up in the flow and help to kind of squeeze out more of that moisture over the next 24 hours. This right here, we've got our eyes on, especially going into next week, because this colder air is going to be the source, and this area of low pressure will be the source for lower snow levels, especially for early into the middle part of next week. So let's advance this into time here, and you can see here, of course we looked at Futurecast here a second ago, but this is kind of the longer range looking at the big picture. So Tuesday of next week, this area of low pressure continues to dive to the south. We still have that Pineapple Express kind of over Northern California, right? But you see how it's kind of shifting to the south and east, which we saw on Futurecast that by Tuesday afternoon, it's beginning to move down to the south and east. And that's because this is moving in and helping to kind of push that down, all right? Now, as we go into Wednesday and Thursday, this low pressure continues to dive to the south and west. There's a little batch of moisture that it's going to tap into, so the flow and that cold flow around that area of low pressure, tapping into that moisture. Look at all that snow, and look how low those snow levels are going on Thursday. Now, there have been some hints of, especially maybe on social media, talking about the potential for snow in the valley. At this point, I'm not going to put it in the forecast or even talk about it in the forecast just yet, but I think snow levels could be as low as, say, 1,000, 1,500 feet at times on Tuesday. Depends on how much of this colder air can really cool down and how much of that moisture we can bring in as well. Then, by the end of the week, around Friday, Saturday, we're losing that source of moisture, but the colder air is still in place, so temperatures on the cool side and drying out for next weekend. There you can see next Sunday, that colder air to the east and high pressure actually kind of building in, and we'll get some deserved drier conditions. So we take a look at, this is kind of look at the atmospheric river, the Pineapple Express. There it is right here, still aimed at us on Monday. Now Tuesday, again, that colder air, you see how it's mainly pointed to the south, but that colder air is going to tap into that and maybe bring us some of the showers on Tuesday. But then by Wednesday, see that? There's that batch of moisture coming in with that low pressure. But by the end of next week, we are no one for the entire western United States, or West Coast that is, will be under the influence of any kind of atmospheric river by the end of next week into next weekend. So we're getting a bit of a break from all of that. So that's kind of looking at everything as far as what's going on out there. Keep in mind that if you're watching this and you're just kind of checking in right now, do know that once I'm done with this, this is recording as we speak, and I will be uploading it to YouTube, so you'll be able to watch it whenever you want. So let me just show you where you can get that. Again, if you're just watching right now or just kind of getting in here. We go to weathernorcal.com. Am I on the right computer? No. There we go. We go to weathernorcal.com, and what you can do here, scroll down, see it says Coffee with Krueger. You click on that, and then you just click on it right here. That's where it's going to be. That's Fridays that you're looking at right there. But here in, after this will be uploaded to YouTube, and you'll be able to watch it. And you can also watch it from the free Weather NorCal app. So that's really cool as well. All right. So did I take you to that? Did I show you that, or is it? I don't know. Let's show you again real quickly, just in case. I don't know if I was looking at it or not. Did I take you to it? I think I did, but maybe not. Hard to say. Where is my mouse? There it is. So again, there's weathernorcal.com. Click on Coffee with Krueger, and then you'll see it right there, right at the top. Boom. You can watch the recorded version of Coffee with Krueger. There you go. All right, I'm back. Let's check in with some of you, see if there's any questions here. Good, no questions. That means I addressed everything. So that's going to do it for us this morning. Like I said, by the way, Chase Wilson will still be providing the forecast for you. The 6 o'clock in the morning update has already been uploaded everywhere that you want to. If you want to watch it now, after you just watch this, you'll be good to go. Then, of course, he'll update you at noon and at 6 o'clock this evening. And I will be back tomorrow morning with a recorded version at 6 a.m. And then, of course, live on Coffee with Krueger right here at 7 a.m., your regular updates here. So Tim is saying, thanks, Mike Krueger, Weather NorCal, for doing this all this on a Sunday. Why not? Yeah, I was up. And I mentioned this in a video I posted this morning on Facebook. And I said, hey, I'm up. The weather woke me up. And my first instinct when I hear that rain, and it was pretty heavy rainfall, my first instinct is, what's going on? And do I need to inform the public of anything? So I get to my phone, I see what's going on, or any watches and warnings, and I did see that the Weather Service had issued a wind advisory because the winds had picked up, so I decided to go ahead and post that. And I was like, I can't sleep now. So I went up and made some coffee. I got this show that you just saw here ready, and I did go out for a brief period of time outside and just sat and enjoyed the weather. In this industry, as for as long, one of my biggest complaints, one of my complaints working in this industry and doing what I do, I love what I do, don't get me wrong. But one of my things that I don't like about it is that I can't just be a normal person and enjoy a thunderstorm or enjoy that heavy rainfall coming down. And because now, throughout my entire career, whenever those things are happening, my first thought is there something dangerous? Is there something I need to inform the public about? And that's part of my job. And I've accepted that, and I love it, and I love that, and I love that I'm able to do that for you. But there are times when I wish I could just step away from that, right? And just enjoy it. So I did that this morning. After I got everything ready to go and knew the show was ready to go for you this morning, I sat outside, and I sat there with my coffee like this. And I just closed my eyes and listened to the rain. It's not that windy where I am, but again, it's very windy in other cases. So I was just enjoying it. And just the rain, and it wasn't too cold outside. It was really nice. And I really enjoyed it. So there you go. All right, that's going to do it. Like I say, I've got to, Chase will be updating you throughout the day with the latest updates. I'll try to keep an eye on things, but I'm going to be out at the ski park. My son's going to be practicing. And then it will probably, his practice, I think it's usually done a little after noon. And then he'll probably want to snowboard a little bit longer than that. So I'll be out there through a good portion of the day. And I was actually just looking at the Shasta Alpine. I don't know if Perry's watching or not, Coach Perry. She said she's getting ready to leave, so she's not canceling it yet. So hopefully she understands that, yeah, we're going to be fine out there. But yeah, I plan on leaving here very shortly, taking my son up to the ski park. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to getting out. This is the first I've been out there since we've seen all of this snow. Unfortunately, and I was really bummed, and I was wondering why, but unfortunately they canceled practice on Friday because of the weather conditions. And I was like, it's normal snow, chains, no big deal. But they canceled it. So we didn't go up there in the works, and I didn't want to go yesterday because I knew it was going to be super busy. And plus, I got to go out there. I would have been out there Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. That's draining. That's a lot of driving back and forth from Mount Shasta to Redding. So yeah, I'll be out there today. I'm looking forward to it. I'll of course, be sure to share, and we'll love to share some photos and videos out there at the ski park because I'm sure it's gorgeous, and I'm sure it's great skiing conditions right now with all the snow, and there's going to be more snow up there throughout the day. So thank you all so much for watching, and be sure to check the latest updates throughout the day. I am going to leave you with a couple of cameras here. Let's leave you with some of the what it looks like out there on the roads, a little bit of music. Let's get that going. I've got so many mice and so many computers, it gets confusing. And we will wrap up the show. Call it a great day. We will see you tomorrow morning on Coffee with Krueger. In the meantime, have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you tomorrow.